Welcome to tonight's session. My name is Tamara. I know we have a lot of newbies today. So let me know if you are new or if you've been in the Academy for a while. But I just want to introduce myself to anyone who is brand new to Literature Academy. I am the Academy manager. So everything you see, I help welcome to tonight's session. My name is Tamara. I know we have a lot of newbies today. Boom, cut that off. So yeah, I'm the manager of Literature Academy, and I am here to help you guys educate yourselves on financial literacy. So every time you all are in the comments asking questions, I try to see what you guys are asking for the most and bring that knowledge to you through our amazing experts. And one of those experts is Ash Cash, and he is joining us tonight. So before we get started, because there's so much good information that's going to come out of this session, I want to make sure you can see me and that you can hear me so that we can get this started. So just let me know. I am looking in the comments and it's usually on a slight delay. So let's see if I'm hearing anything. All right. Welcome, Tianisha. She says she's been here for 6 weeks. Oh, Elena said, I love Ask the Expert. Yes, we are back, and we are back with the bang because one of your favorite experts is Ash Cash. And for those of you who are brand new and are joining us for the first time, in your welcome email, you should have received an email that said that this was one of Tiffany's favorite experts in the Academy. Look, don't tell nobody. One of her favorite experts, and it's one of your favorite lessons. It's one of the top 2 lessons she tells you to start with. And that lesson is called Mind Right, Life Right. So I have the link underneath the lesson for you to watch that as well. But Ash Cash is no stranger, so let me introduce him. But before I even do that, Ash Cash, say hello. We want to make sure your audio and video.
Hey, family, what's going on? What's going on? Mic check 1 2 1 2.
Awesome. Ash, you kill me. So yes, he is here and the mic is nice. So let's go. So let me introduce him formally. Ash Cash is a personal finance expert, speaker, television, best-selling author, a business consultant, brand ambassador, and life coach to entrepreneurs, celebrities, athletes, executives, and we're gonna just go ahead and say Literature Academy to the dream builders. We love them. So he helps us, or I should say he helps people maximize their full potential by giving them the inspiration, tools, and resources needed to live their best life. He is also the head of financial education. And I mean, the list goes on and on. He has 4 international best-selling books. And today he's really going to break down the secrets of how he was able to write his book, publish the book, and monetize it, and be featured in so many areas as a speaker and as a thought leader throughout CNN, the New York Times, Black Enterprise, Essence Magazine, BET, just pure excellence. You see what we bring you? So that is Ash Cash, and we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna jump right into these 4 secrets that he has available. So Ash Cash, I'll let you get started.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I'll tell you, I love the Literature Academy because like the love that I get from the other courses. I mean, y'all got to know. So me and Tiffany are like, we're brother and sister, like for real. Like that is my sister. We started this journey way back in the day together. I got pictures to prove it. And it's so dope to just see both of us just kind of continuing to do it from a selfless perspective. And, I think that's why I'm here because I was telling Tamara earlier that this is my 10-year anniversary of writing books, right? And so, just a quick background. So when I started, I started my career as a banker. And so at 19 years old, I was a teller. I was a personal banker. I was a private banker. I was a branch manager. So right around 2008, when the recession was starting, I was like, man, I don't like where banking is going, and I want to do something else. I want to teach people about money. I want to go out and do some things. And so I started volunteering, going to like churches and jails and schools, teaching about money. And I loved it. I was like, I love teaching about money, but I had to kind of figure out how I could do both things, between, working a 9 to 5 and going out and doing this as a volunteer. And so one day this guy told me, was like, yo, if you write a book, it'll help you get more speaking engagements. It'll help you, become an expert in this field. And so I wrote my first book in 2009. And in fact, the book really didn't do anything. Like it was I think I sold 80 copies the first year. It was like, it didn't really go as I planned it. And so what I started, through trial and error. And so at the time, I think 2009, writing books wasn't necessarily as easy as it is today. So, I had Fiverr didn't exist. So I had to find a graphic designer. Like, it was so much things I had to do. And so fast forward 10 years later, I've written, I've actually written more than 8 books, but 8 of them in my name. And so I ghostwrite as well. So I've written 11 books in total, but 8 books in my name. 4 of them were #1 bestsellers. I've sold a lot of copies of books. So in total, I've sold 70,000 copies of books.
What? Come on,
all self-published. All self-published. I make at least 4 figures a month from books, and so my highest month I had was 12,800 something. So there was back in January, I had put out a book based on Jay-Z's album, the 444 album. My timing was perfect because it was right around the time that he was up for a Grammy, and so I got like crazy publicity. Sold hella books. I want to say about 2,500 books that month. And so the most I've grossed that month was about $12,000. But on average, I'm saying 4 figures. Right now, I'm about like 2,500, 2,800. So a month, and that's passively, right, from writing books. And so I wanted to come on and just kind of give 4 tips, right? So 4 secrets on how you can do the same, what it's going to take. And so I'll give you the 4 secrets real quick, and we'll go through each of them individually, right? So secret number 1, I want to teach you how to know your book is going to sell before you even write a single word. So before you even write anything, before you even I want to teach you how are you going to know for a fact that your book is going to sell. Number 1. Number 2, I want to help you create your entire book without writing a single word. So without even writing, I'm going to teach you how to write. So I'm going to teach you that, which is honestly, number 2 is how I get books out so quick. People ask me all the time, like, oh, this just happened. Like, how did you get this book out so fast? And so I'll give you that in secret 2. And in secret 3, I'm going to teach you how to get mainstream publicity for your book without a publicist. And so my disclaimer is this, right? I love publicists. I think a publicist is necessary, depending on what level you are at, right? And so for most people, their first book, just building your brand, things of that nature, it might not make sense to hire a publicist. So I'm not saying that you should never hire a publicist. I'm saying that in the beginning, as you're writing a book, I can show you how to get mainstream publicity without even having to hire a publicist. And then lastly, I want to help you teach you how to get your book in thousands of bookstores as a self-published author. And I think for me, that's what's been the difference between selling, making $200 a month, $2,000 a month. And I'll be honest, when I first started, before I figured out this, secret number 4, I was only making about $200, $300. It was still money. I mean, who can't use extra $200, $300? But it's one secret that I did with secret number 4 kind of helped me exponentially get to that, from 200 to 2,000. So we ready?
Yeah, we ready. So you're just going to build us up. We're ready for number 4.
All right, so let's go.
Number 4.
All right, so number 1, right? So how to know your book is going to sell before you even write a single word. And so what I'll say about that is that a lot of times, and I'm guilty of it too, a lot of times we write books because it's a great idea that we want, that we like, that we want to put out there. And so we spend our time, we idea, and we put it out there, and then our friends and family support it, but then after that we hit a wall, right? And so I'll give you an example. I have a book. So my daughter, she's 11 now, but when she was 3 years old, I wrote a book called Taylor's Way. Her name is Taylor. It's called Taylor's Way: Life Lessons Through the Eyes of a 3-year-old. And the cover is dope. It's me and my daughter. I was like, yo, people gonna love it. It's a black father with his black daughter. It's about life, and I thought it was gonna do well. And to this day, right, like 8 years later, I want to say, The book has only sold 100 copies. That's it. The whole 8 years. And I still think it's a dope book, but nobody cares about Taylor, right? Like that's just the hard truth, right? And no, I mean, the hard truth. They don't really care because when people buy a book, it's not about you. It's about what's in it for them. And so the one thing that I did, and this is an awesome book called The Lean Startup, right? And what the Lean Startup talks about is if you're starting a business, you want to put out the most minimal viable product. It means don't put all your energy don't put all your capital, don't put all your energy, don't put everything into your business without knowing first whether it's going to be successful or not. And so I say take the same process. My first huge success that I had with books was a book that I wrote called What the FICO, 12 Steps to Repairing Your Credit. And that book has done it well as well. Like I've done a lot of numbers with that. And before I even wrote, even before I even knew it was going to be a book, it actually started out as an article. And so what happened was, I would get a lot of, DMs and messages about, credit repair. Does credit repair work? What's the best credit repair company? Things of that nature. And at the time, I was a banker, and so I was like, man, people don't even realize that you don't really need a credit repair company unless you don't have the time, right? Like if you don't have the time to send out the letters and do things yourself, then yes, hire a credit repair company. But technically, if you got time, you don't even need a credit repair company. You can do everything yourself. And so I was like, you know what? Let me write an article kind of telling people, what are the things that they need to watch out for, things that they need to do as it relates to their credit. And so at the time, I was writing for the Griot, and the Griot was owned by MSNBC. And so I wrote an article, what the FICO, five things you should not do with your credit, right? And the reason why I called it What the FICO, because I was like, credit is starting to become a curse. And so once I did that, I put the article out. Article went viral, right? MSNBC actually picked up the article, and so it was being shared so many times. And I was reading the comments. I was reading about I was reading what the people were saying. They were like, "Oh, this is great information." And as they were asking these different questions over and over and over again, I said, "Aha!" Right? Knowing that there was a market for it, knowing that 44 million people in America have bad credit, knowing that this was, this article went crazy. This was something that everybody wanted. People loved the title of the article because it was a play on WTF. I read the comments and understood. And so for me, without even writing the book, I knew it was going to sell because I tested the market already. I already knew. It didn't take me much, but a few hours to write the article. I didn't have to spend money. I didn't spend a lot of time. And I already knew that people wanted it. And so I would say to you that number one, even if you think it's the best idea, you have the best life story, whatever it is, before you even write anything, even thinking about writing a book, test your market. I think now, because back when I wrote What the FICO, I think Twitter was out, but it wasn't as easy. Like not everybody was on it like that, and so it was even a little more difficult to kind of get direct responses from people. But now, when you think about Facebook, you think about groups, you think about Instagram, you think about Twitter, you think about all of these platforms that exist that every single person, that breathes, even your grandmama probably has social media, right? And so there's ways now to test the market out. And so that was my first example. Second example, right? When I did the Jay-Z book, when I heard 444, I knew, I was like, wow, right? Like 80% of this album, he's talking about financial freedom. Everybody tried to make it about his infidelity, but that wasn't necessarily the bulk of the album. The bulk of the album was about generational wealth, financial freedom. What do you need to do to get your finances in order? And so, first thing, minimal viable product. I actually didn't even want to do a book, honestly, because I was like, I'm not going to do a whole book on somebody's album. But what I did do was I was like, yo, this is dope. People love the album. I was doing a lot of speaking engagements at schools. I said, you know what? I'm going to go to a school and I'm going to create a whole workshop based on Jay-Z's album. Did that. And it went crazy. The kids were asking all these questions, people were going crazy. And I was like, yo, this is so dope. And so in my mind, I said, as an author, I said, I wonder if I wrote a book about it, how would it do? So did I write the book? Absolutely not. I actually teased the book first, right?
Mm-hmm.
I went on Fiverr. I got somebody to create a cover for me, literally $10. I paid the guy $10 to create a cover because based on I wanted it to be a simple cover, didn't want it to be all crazy. Put the put the cover out on my social media and said coming soon. The wake up call based on Jay-Z's album, just to kind of see like what the market said. And so before I even wrote a single word, everybody was like, yo, this is such a dope idea. Oh, you're a genius. Like all of these different accolades I was getting for this book that really didn't even exist. It was just an idea. It was something I put out there. And so I say secret number one, before you even like go out to do anything, don't write nothing, don't do anything, just go out there, write an article, get a book cover done, test it out, poll your audience, poll, people who are following you, poll people
Mm-hmm.
who are not following you. Just kind of get an idea of what's out there. Even when you think about like Google, right? There's tools that you can actually, whatever your topic is, you can type that in a Google search to see what is the biggest search question that's happening around that topic. And based on that, that's what gives you an idea of what articles you should write, what your social media posts should be. Like just understanding what people are asking for. And if you have a story, I'm not saying don't write about your story. I'm not saying that if are a cancer survivor and you have a great story of redemption and resilience because you're a cancer survivor, that you wouldn't write the book about it. But find an angle, right? Find an angle that people are asking about, right? Find something related to cancer. Find something related to resiliency. Find something that people are asking for. Because if your book is not for you. I know you want to get your story out there. I know you're going to feel good teaching people based on your experience, which is what I
Mm-hmm.
do as well. But your book is not for you. Not if you want to make money, right? If you just want to call yourself an author, that's fine. But if you want to write your book and you want it to reach the people that you're writing it for, and you want to be able to really, make money from it, then number one, you have to write books for other people and make sure you're surveying them. Number
Ooh.
two, how to create your entire book without writing a single word. And so for me, the other thing that happens with these books now, right? So now I put it out there. I'm telling people to, go ahead. I got this book coming out, and so now people are expecting this book. People are asking for pre-sales. People are like, yo, where can I find it? Where can I buy it? And even sometimes I'll put the book for pre-sale before I even finish the book, right? Just so I could, capture the moment right then and there. And so the one thing I realized was, before it was taking me 8 months to a year to actually write, physically write the book. And so with technology has made it so easy. And so, without belaboring secret number two, I don't write a single word. I actually dictate all of my books. And I'm gonna tell you why dictating your book is very important. Because
Mm-hmm.
when you dictate your book, think about it right now. Like right now, I'm having a conversation with you. And so as I'm having a conversation, everything that I know about this topic, I'm telling it to you. This is just my knowledge. This is what I know. This is what's coming out of my mouth. And so if we literally recorded this and then I transcribed this, we would have an actual, like a lesson. We'll have stories. We'll have the how-to guides. Like we can literally create a book based on this whole conversation we had, because I'm not taking time to think about the item, write the item down, and then sometimes I can't write as fast as I think. And so because I can't write as fast as I think, all of this information I'm giving to you in 1 hour would not be I wouldn't begin to be able to write that in an hour. It would probably take me a couple of days to do it. I have to think about it. I have to find the right way to write it. I have to do all that. And so I say dictate it. But before you dictate, I don't think you just go and say, all right, I got this book idea. I'm just going to start dictating. I'm just going to start writing. No, because what happens is that what makes a great book is making sure you understand what does your audience get out of your book, right? So I'll give you another example. So the reason why my book, What the FICO, does well, because I'm saying What the FICO, 12 steps to repairing your credit. And so what is my outcome? When somebody reads this book, what is the final outcome that I want them to have? I want to give them 12 steps to repair their credit. And so everyone who picks up this book, one, knows that it's about FICO. Two, they know that I'm giving them a step-by-step guide on how to fix their credit. And so for me, I always say it's important to outline your book first. So before you write a single word, I need you to outline it. I need you to think about, all right, what am I trying to teach? What do I want my audience to learn? And then based on what I'm trying to teach, based on what I want them to learn, I'm going to outline it. I'm going to start with the end in mind. I want you to start with the very end. Like, what is it that you want them to learn from it? And so now when you know what you want them to learn from it, now I need you to work backwards. I need you to go backwards and say, all right, so if this is what I want them to learn, what are the steps that it's going to take me to get them to learn this, right? And so for me, it was a 12-step process. I said, here are the 12 steps that people need to learn to fix their credit, right? In fact, it's not even 12 steps. It's probably 6 steps, but the other 6 steps are to make sure that even after you fix your credit, you don't go back to having bad credit, because that's my intention. My intention is not just to teach you how to fix credit, but I also want to teach you how to continue to go. And so I outlined it. I said, all right, this is the end result. And I work backwards. So once I work backwards and I got the end result, I then, each chapter, I then bullet pointed. I said, all right, so if getting negative items off of your credit report is one thing, what are the bullet points of how to do that? If, getting a secure credit card is another step, then what are the steps to do that? And literally, I dictated the rest, right? So now that I have this outline, I literally, I sit with my phone, and while I have my phone, I have a recording device, and I'm literally just pretending as if I'm teaching this to a class, right? And as I'm doing that, I'm getting all of this information out there. And as I get all of the information out, now, there's software that you're able to dictate in terms of the text for you. I like to actually hire somebody to do it. And so after, I have this long file. The only reason I hire somebody is because sometimes with these apps, like if you're going too fast, it might not necessarily, catch the text. It might catch the text wrong or whatever the case may be. So I rather just do a voice record all the way through. I take that recording, I give it to somebody on Fiverr. You got Fiverr, you got Upwork.com, UPWORK.com, and you could literally hire somebody who does translation. And what they'll do is they'll take your audio or transcription. They'll take your audio file, and then they'll transcribe it for you and send it back to you in a Word document. Once that happens, it's really, really easy to now go back in and start to edit. But imagine that, like, I've been able to put out a book in 2 months, literally from start to finish in 2 months, by dictating it, by editing it. And then once you dictate it and you edit it, there's things that you might want to add, there's research you might want to put, there's stories, you can do that. But the great thing about dictating it is that you've gotten all of your thoughts out there, like every single thing, all your thoughts out there, and you've done that, you've got that done.
What? All right. Pause for a minute though.
Yes.
That was a lot. I mean, you literally just in that short span of like 3 minutes really shared how to write a book.
Yes.
So I hope you guys are taking notes. There was a question that I do want to just drop in real quick. Actually, no, it's going to hit. He's going to jump into this, Alexia. So I'll save it, and I'm pretty sure that's one of his tricks. Go ahead. Let me step back.
No, cool. No, I appreciate it. All right, so secret number 3, right? To how to get mainstream publicity for your book without a publicist. And so this is, again, it was, when I think about the MSNBC article that went viral, that was one way. But I really figured it out when the Jay-Z books dropped, right? When I was, if you Google 444 book, I'm pretty sure that the first 2 pages, the first 10 articles are media hits on my book. I promise you, right? And I'm talking Money Magazine, Billboard, Yahoo Finance, so many. I had so much publicity for that book. And part of it, and that's why I said it was a mistake, because what I realized was, oh, I put this book out around Grammy time, and because producers, everybody was talking about Jay-Z and the Grammys, Jay-Z and the Grammys, Jay-Z and the Grammys. So like, what else could they talk about? So when they found this new angle, right, they were like, oh my God, a finance, Jay-Z's album, inspired a finance book. Like that was a big deal, and so that's why they started to really give me publicity. It wasn't really about me. It was really about what are they looking for currently, and how does it fit in their cycle. And so that's how I've been able to get all of my other books, right? So since that time, I've done the same thing, right? And so like even with What the Fight Go, even though I wrote that book in 2013, right? So that's 6 years ago. The information is still relevant. It's still, pertinent. It's still the same thing. Nothing changed. But even to this day, I use that to get on media. So let's say, for instance, Experian comes out with this new product that's helping you boost your score, and everybody's talking about it. Well, I'll go to a media outlet and I'll say, hey, I just saw you guys did a story on Experian's new boost program. I have a book that I've written about the 12 things you should do to fix your credit. I got 5 things you should like. So while things are hot in the news cycle, you can actually use that in order to get publicity. The one myth that I want to dispel about publicity: you do not have to have a big name. You do not have to be a celebrity. You don't have to be a recurring guest in order for someone to book you. As long as you have your name and your brand is Googleable. I can't tell you enough. Like as you're writing your book, it's important that you start building your brand. You have a website that is clear, that tells who you are. Your social media matches up. You have some video of you talking or some interviews. Like you need to be ready, because what's going to happen is when you do reach out to these producers are going to look you up. They're going to try to look you up. They're going to see what you have out there already, and will you make a good guess, right? Mm-hmm. And so the reason why I say I want to dispel the myth is because what you have to realize is that a producer's job is very, very difficult. Every single day, they have to find a guest that is going to help them, sell what they're selling, meaning the story, right? Mm-hmm. And so sometimes it's so difficult to find people to, for them to interview. And that's why you'll see the same people over and over on television. But the producers would love variety. They would love a different voice. They would love somebody else who's an expert. And so don't think because, well, I've never been on television before, I've never done a radio interview, I've never done that. And so people know, like, if you have a story that's compelling enough based on what they're looking for, what's hot right now, what's trending right now, what stories are out there, right? Like if you go to the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal or any major newspaper, I promise you, whatever's their headline, everybody else is talking about it, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody, you go to CNN.com, you're going to find a million people talking about the same thing over and over and over again. And so wake up early, right? Find out what's the trending topic, what is everybody talking about, and how can you use that in order to get your name into the public, right? So like let's say, for instance, like Kanye West, and so that was another book that I wrote, right? I wrote a book called Making Sense of Kanye. And so what happened was, when Kanye was going on his rant about 400 years of slavery and loving Trump and all that stuff, I was like, man, this guy isn't wrong, but he's not delivering the message right. And so now I was like, yo, I should write a book on making sense of Kanye, making sense of what he was saying. And so now people were tired of talking about Trump, tired of talking about Kanye. So here's this new angle. Wow, this guy is talking about Kanye and trying to make sense of him. And so I would say number 3 is to make sure that you are paying attention to what's timely. Another great tool, if you don't know about it, is Haro, Help a Reporter Out, right? There's a site called Haro, Help a Reporter Out, where literally you could sign up for it, and every single day, I think you get 3 emails per day, and each of those emails will tell you, what articles or what things are journalists working on. So you could actually pitch yourself for a lot of the stuff that they're talking about, because if you pitch yourself and get bylines and things of that nature, that's going to help move you up from an SEO standpoint. So when people are looking for your name, they'll see you. But even from that perspective, when you read those articles or those headlines to see what people are talking about, you could see what fits, right? Does something fit? Can I make this fit within what my book is about? And then start to reach out to your. I would start local first, your local newspaper, your
Mm-hmm.
local television. Start local and then go national, right? The other thing too that I would say is don't be afraid to use press releases. A lot of publicists, a lot of people would say, you know what, press releases are dead. They produce dead links. Don't even do them. From experience, I would say that press releases have worked for me because even when before I put out my Jay-Z book, what I did was I put out a press release, kind of stirring up the pot a little bit. And a lot of major, media like black media picked up. Like I never contacted ebony.com, right? Ebony.com at the time, they had wrote about my book. And when I looked at the article, everything they got was from my press release. And so that's another secret within that how to get mainstream publicity is to make sure you do a press release, make sure you use Haro or other similar services, but then also reach out to those publications. And then so lastly, and then we'll open up for questions because I know there'll be a lot of questions. But lastly, number 4, how to get your book in thousands of bookstores as a self-published author. And so I'm going to slow down a little bit with this last one because this, for me, is the secret sauce. Like this is how you're going to make a lot of money. This is how you're going to get your name out there. This is how you're going to kind of finesse it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I first wrote my book, I would use Create Space, and then Create Space is no longer, so it's called KDP now, a Kindle Direct Publishing, and so ISBN number, that's the number that identifies your book, right? And so when I wrote my book, I didn't think of it, nothing of it. I didn't know the game, and so what I did was I published my book through Amazon, and then I let them give me an ISBN number. So I was like, no big deal. And so what happened was when they gave me the ISBN number, they did what's called extended distribution. And so they said, hey, Ash, we can help you get your books in Barnes and Nobles and iTunes and all these places through our extended distribution channel. So I said, great. So I did that. Then I started getting publicity for it or whatever the case may be. And then when I would look on Amazon, it would say independently published is what the publisher would say. Then I remember this bright as day. I had called Barnes and Nobles because I was doing a lot of like press runs and things of that nature. I was getting a lot of publicity, and I said I would love to do a book signing at Barnes and Nobles. It was the biggest book retailer. I called Barnes and Nobles. I gave them the title of my book. They looked it up. They saw it in their system, but they told me that at the time they were not accepting books from self-published authors. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm not a self-published author. They were like, well, when we look in the system, it says, that it's published by Create Space, which is a self-publishing platform, and so that's why we're not going to accept your book. I know that I've spoken to people since, and I know that there's a lot of self-published authors that have publish their books independently. But as it relates to bookstores, like independent bookstores, one of the things you have to be aware of is that there are a million people who are publishing books, right? And because there's so many people like self-publishing books, there really isn't a checks and balances out there. And so bookstores want to mitigate their risk, right? There are some very great written books by self-published authors, but be honest, there are some very poor written books by self-published authors. I remember somebody gave me a copy of their book, and I was reading the book, and I was like, it was no structure. And it literally felt like this person like copied and pasted a bunch of blogs together and made a book out of it. And I was
Ugh.
like, wow, And so imagine, right? Imagine you're a producer, you bring this person on, you're promoting this person's book, and that the quality of the book is that. And so a lot of independent bookstores, a lot of producers, a lot of major bookstores, they don't want to take a chance on it. And so the first thing they're going to do is kind of look to see, are you published traditionally? Are you published by a publisher? And so When I realized that, I said, you know what? The best thing to do is to not publish my book using Amazon's ISBN number. So if you're an existing author, if you're about to write your book, whatever the case may be, make sure you are buying your own ISBN number. And the way you do that, there is one company in the US called Bowker, Bowker. Bowker is the only company that provides ISBN numbers in the United States. And so you go to their website, myidentifiers.com, right? Myidentifiers.com. And when you go there, you can purchase an ISBN number. The great thing about their website is that if you have an LLC, you can sign up under your LLC name, but then it also gives you the ability to sign up under your publishing company, right? And so if you have, if you have an imprint, right? If you have a name that you want to use, whether it's a DBA, however way you set it up, you can actually sign up as your imprint. And so for me, I created what's called One Brick Publishing. And so if you ever buy any of my books, if you look on the back, there's a logo that says One Brick Publishing, and the book is published by One Brick Publishing. And you might say to yourself, well, I know your name is Ash Cash. I know you run a business called Mind Right Money Management. Where the hell did this, One Brick Publishing come from? That's the
Mm-hmm.
other trick. The other trick is you don't want to you don't want your publishing company to be connected with you so that it's obvious it's your company, right? You want them to believe that this is a separate entity. So I'll give you the story. I actually was watching a Will Smith video, and Will Smith was talking. It was an inspirational video, interview that they made into inspirational video. And he was talking about how he and his brother were at his father's store, and his father broke down the wall and told him and his brother to build the wall. Will Smith and his brother looked at the wall, was like, how the hell am I going to build this wall? It's impossible to build a wall. And his father said, listen, stop focusing on the whole wall. If you do it one brick at a time, right? Brick by brick, make sure that that one brick is the best possible brick. If you do it one brick at a time, then you will eventually have a wall. That story, I love that story. That story stuck with me. I love the concept of building things one brick at a time. And so for me, I said, all right, if I'm going to build a publishing company, I'm going to do One Brick Publishing. It's separate from what I know, what I'm doing. Nobody will suspect that it's me. People would think that it's a different publishing company, and that way, to the producers, to the book companies, to the independent bookstores, when they look up my books, it's not going to say Ash Cash Books. It's not going to say Mind Right Books. It's going to say One Brick Publishing. There are so many subsidiaries under major book publishers. You might have Simon and Schuster, but Simon and Schuster might own Atria Books or might own Grand Central Books. Like there's all these different publishing companies underneath these big major houses, and so these companies are not going to know whether One Brick Publishing is mine or if it's another subsidiary of a major book publisher. And so as long as you have that, that's going to help you. So I would say, to number one, make sure you are not publishing using the ISBN number of Amazon. Make sure you buy your own ISBN number. But there's a part two to this. Never use Amazon extended distribution, because what's going to happen when you use Amazon extended distribution, it's the same thing. Even if you use your own ISBN number, when you check the box to Amazon extended distribution, what they're going to do is that they're going to distribute the book from Amazon to this company called Ingram, right? Ingram is one of the largest distributors in the nation of books. And so a lot of independent bookstores use uh, Ingram distribution to order their books. And so when a bookstore is looking up your book, they're going through Ingram's system to see if your book is available. If you do Amazon extended distribution, the same thing's going to happen. They're going to look up your book. They're going to find it through Ingram, but not through your own Ingram account. They're going to find it through Amazon's Ingram account. And so Ingram has their own self-publishing platform called Ingram Sparks, right?
Mm.
And so the tip number two from secret number four is to make sure that you open up an account with Ingram Sparks. And as you open up the account with Ingram Sparks, then to make sure that you're doing it under that same ISBN number, but now when the bookstores, the independent bookstores are ordering your books, they'll see it under your publishing company and they'll see it available to them directly instead of from Amazon. And so how did that increase my sales? Because once you start getting publicity, right? A lot of what the independent bookstores, they're run by local people, right? By people who are watching the same news, who are looking out, at the trends, they're seeing what's selling. And so for me, when I wrote the book, the 444 book, my press release went out to independent bookstores. All of this news press that I was getting, they were picking it up. They were like, "What is this book? What is this book that everybody's talking about?" And so they start to look it up. And once they look it up, they can now say, okay, oh, this book is selling. All right, I'm going to order some copies of it. And that's how you get your books in bookstores. And so for me, being able to garner, a lot of publicity for my books, allow bookstores to now say, you know what, I'm going to order this book because this guy is getting a lot of publicity. The other way too is you can do it individually, right? Because these bookstores are small bookstores, you can do it individually. I remember back, I think last year, I was doing a talk in New Orleans, and so I was going to Dillard University to do a talk. I was doing a bunch of radio runs, and so I knew I was going to be in town, and so I literally started to reach out to bookstores that were in New Orleans and saying, "Hey, listen, I'll be in town. I'm doing this radio. I'm talking about my book. I'm going to the college. I want to be able to push some of that traffic to your bookstores." And so they were able to order some books, have my books in their bookstore because I was there. But I had to do the due diligence first. I had to make sure my book was available through Ingram
Mhm.
Sparks. I had to make sure that was available to them. And then from that, now, not only am I, taking advantage of online sales through Amazon, I'm also now in actual bookstores. And if your book does well, the book, the bookstore will position your book the right way. And so I would
Mhm.
say if you follow these 4 steps, right, you will literally set yourself up. And there's more things to it, so this is like a high level of it. There's more things to how you could, get yourself publicity. For instance, like I have a guide where I've written, I include a lot of templates and things of that nature that you could actually use to get on radio, to get on television, to get on blogs and things of that nature. But I wanted to give you these high level things because if anything else, if you follow these 4 steps, you will literally be on your way to not number one, writing your book very, very quickly. Number two, you'll be able to make sure that before you even write the book, that people are actually gonna actually buy it. Number three, you're gonna be able to not only monetize it through writing a good book, but getting mainstream publicity. And the sidebar of major publicity is that you also get an opportunity to make other money other than your books, right? And so I'm saying I make 4 figures solely on books, right? I'm not saying through speaking engagements. I'm not saying through brand ambassadorship. I'm saying solely from books, right? But every time I'm on television, my phone goes off, my email
Mhm.
goes off, right?
Mhm.
Because every time I'm on television, people are like, wow, I wonder, can he speak to my group about this? Or I wonder, if he's available. And so not only is getting publicity going to be a great, booster of your books, but it's also going to help you get other sources of income. Like for instance, Experian contacted me directly, right, through an interview they saw me do, contacted me directly and was like, here's some money. Here's a few bands. Can you go on Facebook Live and talk about our Experience Boost program? Could you write an article based on what you just did on the
Mhm.
television? And so, if you follow these 4 steps, number one, make sure that you are, testing the market, right? Seeing if your book is viable. Number two, make sure that you're dictating your book, you're outlining your book first, but then dictate the book so that way you know that you get all your ideas out. Number three, garner mainstream publicity by putting your information, out there and finding stories that match your information. And then lastly, getting your book into bookstores by buying your own ISBN number, putting your book on Amazon.com and Ingram Sparks. You follow those 4 steps, you're on your way to selling books, writing books, and making a living from your books.
Boom. Just like
Yes,
that. Let me tell
that's
you.
it. Yes,
I
yes,
didn't know anything about writing books until just now.
yes.
Boom. So you guys, the questions are pouring in, and I just want you all to know that yes, this is recorded. You will be able to watch. He was dropping the gems so fast.
Yes, yes, yes,
I was
yes.
over here on the side trying to drop them in, but you guys, this is what the Academy is all about, bringing you the best of the best. Ash Cash is giving you everything. I mean, what he just gave you, like he said, was a high level overview. He has templates, he has courses, he has a full breakdown of how you can do this from beginning to end. Did you say 4 figures a month?
Yeah,
Hello?
4 figures a
Four
month.
figures a
4 figures a
month?
month. Yeah. So my goal is to continue to go up, but on average is about, I think this month was about 2,800. The month before was 26, solely from books.
Look,
Just from
just
books. Yeah, and so my goal is to continue, right? So as I'm more visible, I'll make books, and so the one other thing I want to say too is this is what I like to call mailbox money, right? Because I'm not right, these are. So here's the other thing too, is these are books that I've written. Like I said, my first book came out in 2009, and so I'm still making money from a book that I wrote in 2009, right? And the great thing about it, and I think that if you have a book idea, make sure you're able to write multiple books, because that's how I make 4 figures, right? I got one book that does a lot of sales, but then if people like you, if they like your story, they're gonna research you. They're gonna see what other products or services that you offer, and if you have other books, they already know your style, so they'll order those books as well.
listen, y'all, I just need to pause for a minute because I
Yes,
mean, this is amazing.
yes,
One thing that's crazy is he said that he wrote a book in 2 months just
yes,
based off of just following this technique. So once you
yes,
have the technique down pat, you
yes.
can be writing a book every 2 months if you like, be a
Absolutely,
best-selling
absolutely,
author and have those checks rolling in. So I
absolutely.
know for a lot of you, you still want more information. You still might need a little hand holding or some more information to kind of make you feel comfortable and to guide you a little bit. And of course, Ash Cash is always looking out for the dream builders. And
Yes,
when he
yes,
came
yes.
on, he said he would work out something for us. So Ash Cash, what do you have for the dream builders?
Yeah, so I have a course currently called Mind Right. How to write and publish your book in 90 days or less and make 4 figures from it. And so that course is normally $497. If you use the code, and you'll put the links below. If you
Mm-hmm.
use the code Dream Builders for Life, you'll get $100 off the course. But here's what you get with the course. So all of the four secrets that I gave you, um, these are high level, but I actually break them down step by step by step by step, right? I created a guide. It's a 90-day checklist. And so the course is broken down into 5 modules. 1 through 4 is just me giving you the science behind everything and giving you the tips and the tricks. But then module 5 is literally a 90-step process, meaning that I take you step by step. And if you wanted to write and publish your book in 90 days or less, I give you step by step everything you need to do, from how do create your website, how your social media should look, because all of that matters, as it relates to publicity. How does your website look? How does your bio read? What your social media looks like? I give you step by step on how to get your book cover done, how to write your title, right? Think about it. Like, the name of my title of one of my books is The Wake Up Call: Financial Lessons Learned from 444 and a Step-by-Step Guide on How to Implement Each Principle. That's purposeful, right? Like a lot of times people have these titles that really don't sell, and so I go over how to write, write, have a great title that's going to guarantee to sell, how to have a great book cover. I have tons of templates, and that's the other thing, that the beauty of it is, like, I've done tons of podcast interview, radio interviews. Like if you just Google my name, you'll see a bunch of stuff come up. Part of that is because I have a team of people that use these templates, and they send out these templates on my behalf. I do not have a publicist. A lot of what I'm doing is, literally, you can hire somebody, you can get an intern, you could do it yourself. But in the course, I break down everything, and I think that what's important is that step-by-step guide. But the other thing I'm going to do, just for you, just for the for the dream builders, is that once you order this course, I'm also going to give you a one-on-one with me, right? So a half an hour one-on-one, where you and I could talk about your idea and I'll give you my honest opinion. Like I remember doing a one-on-one with this guy. He was telling, I won't say the name of his book because I don't want nobody to look it up, but he told me the name of his book, and I was like, the title is kind of weak. Well, he was like, well, this is my daughter's name and my son's name, and I wanted the book to be dedicated to them. I said, okay, cool. I said, that's fine if you want the book to stay in your in the garage. If you want to make money, then you need to change this title. And so we started brainstorming, coming up with titles. We're in the process of doing that. But I'm saying things like that, right? Like the name of your book can literally be the difference between selling books and selling no books. And so, just for the dream builders, I'm doing a half an hour one-on-one consultation, and we'll literally talk. I'll help you flesh out your ideas. I'll give you, access to my brain and 10 years of knowledge of, what's worked. Like I said, I've sold 70,000 books, so you can listen to whoever you want. I'm just talking about my experience. I'm not saying, like, are there other ways that work? Absolutely. I'm not saying that my way is the only way, but I have receipts. I have receipts. I can show you my receipts. And so, so I'll give that. And then also, we have a Facebook community, so that way you can share ideas with the community as well.
Woo! I'm sorry, that one-on-one session almost fell out my chair. You guys didn't see me, but when he said, so that is a bonus, you guys. If you enroll in that course, you get a 30-minute one-on-one session with him, and that is exclusive to Dream Builders only. Yes. And Ash Cash, he's not a cheap person. You can't get him for pennies. So that is a huge offer. So if this is something that you've been sitting on for a while, listen, 2 months from today, you could be writing your book and have that cash flowing in. And all of us, I'm not gonna say all of us, but majority of us in Dream Builders group, we all have a book. Here's my book here with Ash Cash. I mean, almost every other person has an Ash Cash book, and it's because he knows what he's talking about. So, I mean, I'm just saying, y'all can wait today or start today, or y'all can keep waiting. Yes. But I do have some questions for you, Ash.
Yes.
That came in over the course of this lesson. Let me pull them up. I was trying to grab them. You guys were so engaged. Let's see. Okay, so they're going to be a little scattered across the 4 topics. So one question is, does it make a difference with digital products like an ebook or hard copy when pitching to places like Barnes and Noble?
Yeah, so yes, it makes a difference because Barnes and Noble's is a brick and mortar, right? And so they want a physical copy. And that's a great question because that's something that I missed also, is that I also in that number, I'm talking about paperback, ebook, and audiobook, right? And so in my course, I also talk about how to create the audiobook version of it. I think if you do not have an audiobook, you are losing out, right? A couple of reasons, because number one, I remember when I wrote the Jay-Z book, I literally had Uber drivers hitting me up like, yo, bro, I want to read this book, but I'm in my car all day. I cannot read a book. And so I think that audiobooks are perfect, right? So all my books are available on audio as well. And the great thing about audiobooks is that I read my own audiobook. I'm not hiring somebody to do the audiobook because guess what? If I am a speaker, I want people to hire me to speak. Guess what's the best way for them to hear me speak? It's to listen to interviews. If I have a book and I'm articulating the book, that's also an audition. And so to your question, yes, you want a paperback book, you want an ebook, but you also want an audio book. Do not leave any money on the table. You want
you too hot today, Ash.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so ebook, hard copy, audio. I mean, you just drop it right there that your audiobook serves as an audition. Y'all, can you talk about how you sell bulk orders?
Yes.
You gotta talk about that, but
yeah. So I mean, so a couple of things, right? So bulk orders that come from bookstores, those are handled through the bookstore, right? So when you do like Ingram Sparks is going to ask you, what are your return policies, what percentage are you going to do, and that's important too, right? Because a lot of bookstores want the ability to return books if they don't sell. And so if you do not choose the option to have books returned, then a bookstore may not order for you. So I follow that. I say, you know what, I'll take the hit if they decide to return it, but I know that it's a quality book, so I you know, I know that they're not going to return it. That's why I do that. I do have people who reach out to me individually who say, hey, you know, I want to buy a bulk of books, whether it's from, you know, for a school, whether I'm doing a speaking engagement, or whatever the case may be. Great thing about using these print on demand, platforms is that you buy books at cost, right? And so literally, so like this book right here, because it's 220 pages or 240 pages, it literally cost me $3.75 to print, right? And so if I buy this book, I'm buying it for $3.75. And so, you know, retail is $14.99 or $9.99. And so if I even sold it at $7, I still double my profit, right? And so that's what I say, right? So what I do for bulk orders, if somebody reaches out to me directly or they email me and they ask for bulk orders, I just make sure that I'm undercutting what the retail price is. So if they can get it on Amazon for $10, or if they can get it on Amazon for $13, I come up with a price. I order it from Amazon for the discounted price. Like literally, what the FICO cost me $2.65, right? So think
What?
about my margins on that. $2.65 per book. And so if somebody buys it from me, and I still sell it to them for $7, right? $7 and $8 is like my sweet spot for bulk orders. So if because I want them to make money too. And so if I sell it for $7 and they're selling it for 10 to 15, they'll still make money. We all eat. You know, and so I would say the shorter your book, this is 10 years ago. That's why it's 240 pages. Now I think its attention spans are smaller. And so I wouldn't go over 200. In fact, mostly my books are between 120 and 160, 120 pages, 160 pages. You do that, you're keeping your margins less than $3, and you could do bulk orders yourself as well.
All right. Next question. I wrote a book that is not selling. Could I change the title but still keep the same content?
Absolutely, without a doubt. The great thing about it is like your book is identified by its ISBN number. So all you got to do is purchase a new ISBN number, and you could do whatever you want with the content, right? In fact, the first book that I wrote didn't have my face on it because I was working at the bank at the time. There was a conflict of interest. In fact, like my name is Ash Exantis. The reason why I write under Ash Cash was because I was a banker and the bank wouldn't let me do it under my name. I mean, they didn't even know about it. So I was like, you know what? Ask for forgiveness, not for permission. And so my second, right? My second edition, I put my face on it. All I did was buy a new ISBN number. And so as long as you buy a new ISBN number, you can change the title, you can change the cover, you can change whatever you want. And so what I would do is if you have a book that's existing already, really survey, right? Use like what are people saying about your book? What are they saying about the title? What is the cover good enough? Like figure out what is it about the book that's not selling, make those tweaks, and then re-put it out with the new name, with the new cover, and following what I just said to do, and then you'll start to see an increase in your book sales.
Woo, that was a gem. Another one. Okay, so this is related to 444. Hey, Trustica, by the way. Trustica is one of the dream builders, but she also came on as an expert at one time, and she's in here tonight. She wants to know, how do you tie your book to a celebrity without violating their intellectual property? Good question.
Yeah, that's a great question. So the one thing you have to understand is that writing a book about a celebrity is no different than writing an article, is no different than once somebody's a public figure, you have what's called what is it called? I forget the term, not domain. I forget there's a term for it where
just tell us what it is, and we'll hook them up. We'll tell them later.
Yeah, so there's a term for it where if you're writing about somebody, as long as you're not using their likeness to sell books, meaning that if let's say for instance I wrote a book about Kanye and I have so my making sense of Kanye actually has a picture of Kanye on the cover, right? But in the book, I'm talking about Kanye. I didn't use Kanye's face, and then the book is about, it's about something else, right? I didn't use Jay-Z's name, but the book isn't about Jay-Z. And so you want to make sure that if you're going to use a celebrity, that you're tying it into things that are public domain already, right? Like news articles, things that people are talking about, and it's called fair use. That's what it's called. It's called fair use, right? So there's a fair use clause, meaning that as a journalist, as a writer, as an author, anybody who's in the public, you have fair use to write about them, as long as you're not, So like for me, I'm using lyrics, but I'm not, I didn't use all of their, there's a certain amount of lyrics that you can use. And so there's ways around that. I would say, to be on the safe side, and I do this, to be on the safe side before you publish a book using a celebrity, if you have an attorney who could just do the research to make sure the way you're using it is not violating any copyright rules, right? And so when I put out the Jay-Z book, I have a Kanye book, I have a Nipsey Hussle book, I also have an attorney. I mean, she doesn't charge that much, right? So it's worth it for me, especially because I know I'll make money from the books. And so it's worth it for me to give her the title, give her the content, and she does the research or whatever to make sure that I'm not violating any copyrights. But so far, I've been good. Like no cease and desist orders, nothing like that. In fact, like with the Jay-Z book, I was actually at Rock Nation. I did an interview there, right? So I interviewed at Title, and did an interview talking about the book with Memphis Bleak, with Jay-Z's nephew Rel, and Brian Axelrod, who does promo for Duce. Like, I was actually in the building, right? And so I know that they know about the book and things of that nature. So it's not like, I didn't, I'm not stepping on nobody's toes. I didn't do anything that was illegal, because I followed that protocol of just making sure that I'm using fair use, that I'm not like encroaching on the copyright. That's a great question.
That was a great question. Okay, we have so many questions. I'm going to ask two more, and then the rest, you guys, Ashcash is in the Dream Builders group, and he'll answer questions as he can. However, once again, I would say that the best way to get the information you need is going to be right in that course. And let's talk about the course real quick. So how long will they have access to the Facebook group if they join the course?
Yeah, so once you join the course, it's unlimited access to the group, right? Because the goal is to also support each other. And so what I want to do with the group is, like, as people are writing books, like we support each other. So you'll have access to the group unlimited. You'll also have access to the course unlimited as well, right? And so because this is the other thing. The other thing is that I have receipts for me, but I'm fully vested in helping you become a bestseller too, right? As a fact, so I'll be honest. So me working with somebody one-on-one is worth $6,000, right? Like I have a package where I help people come from idea to book. I've ghostwritten books that cost $6,000. Me selling the course at $497, I'm robbing myself. But I know that I want to do it at a lower price point, because once I start getting people to get books, bestsellers, and start making 4 figures a month, then I could increase the price, because it's not only me telling you my numbers. I have other people that have went through the program, that have also have had the same results. And so for me, I'm willing to give you all of my knowledge, and help you to really make your book successful, because as you become successful, I become successful, because I can raise my price. And I'm just being honest.
I mean, real honest. I mean, it's the truth. It is the truth. So once again, $6,000 to work with him.
Yes.
He usually charges $497 for the course. But because we're his sisters from another ministry,
exactly,
$100 off. So you guys got to jump on that. And then Ash, how long is that coupon or promo code running?
So for right now, it's until the end of the year. So until December 31st, because for me, I want to, again, I'm in the process of saying, like, I know, and you'll see, right? Anybody who's taking a course literally have emailed me like, yo, you are giving away the game. And so I'm literally giving away the game. And so I know what the course is worth. And so, yeah, so I don't, past December 31st, I might be pulling that. Just so I
All
can
right,
raise,
good
raise the
stuff.
prices.
Good
So
to
definitely
know.
on
So those were 2 questions. I'm asking one more question
yes.
from our audience, and we are going to wrap it up. Let's see. Okay, so about funding, how you started the process. I know that you use Fiverr and Upwork, and he kind of told you $10, $15. It wasn't too much. But for your first book, how did you go about the funding for the cover and for the audio book?
Yeah. So for my first book, it cost too much. Like because my first book, there wasn't Fiverr, right? So I spent like thousands of dollars putting the book out. But literally now, man, like I could put out every version of my book for less than $1,000, right? Meaning paperback copy, audio version, and ebook. I could do all of that for less than $1,000. I have somebody that I use on Fiverr who does all of my covers. I've been using this person for the last 2 years. Um, and they do all of my covers. I don't pay more than $50 for my covers, right? So $50 for a professional looking cover. They do a great job. My person that does my inside, like design the inside of the book, you're talking about maybe $150 for that. And that's all you really need, right? You need the book cover, you need the inside of it, depending on how you're going to edit your book, right? So you need an editor as well. Your editor could cost you about $200 to $400, depending on what you use. If you're good at writing, I would say you could use Grammarly. So I've done that for ebooks. Not my other books, I get them actually professionally edited, but I have ebooks that I put out that I've used Grammarly for. Grammarly is like $100. And so it literally, like, you put it in there, it tells you from the grammar perspective. Audio book, I wish I had this thing I could show you, but I literally use like, you can record it from a microphone. Like I have this condenser microphone right here that I use to record audio books. It connects to my laptop. That mic costs $100. It's a oh no, this is a Rode mic. My Rode mic costs like $200, right? So it's like $200. But I have a microphone that I use to record my audio book. Right, I could do it on here or my iPhone. But the great thing about it, on Fiverr, there's a guy that I use that will clean up your audio for you. So let's say there's dead air, whatever it is, you can actually use somebody on Fiverr. And I think he charged me $125 to like clean up my whole audio book, so that way it sounds professional. And so that's that. What I'm saying is, Fiverr is your best friend. Upwork is your best friend. You should not be paying more than $1,000 to produce your book. I've done a book for $350, right? And so it really depends on the quality, what you need, but it shouldn't take you more than $1,000 to do it.
Woo. I mean, that's honestly invest in yourself, and then the rest will be handled.
And that's a great point, right? Like, well, I don't look at it as a cost for me. For me, because I know. So like I said, if you follow what I said to you, though, right? I'm saying you're gonna know that your book is gonna sell before you put it out, right? Because you're gonna follow these steps. You're gonna see what people are talking about. You're gonna see what people are asking for, and so I know that my books are gonna sell before I sell them. And so if I'm gonna invest $1,000, I know I'm gonna make that $1,000 back, right? Like, I'm gonna make it back whether it's the first month, second month, whatever the case may be. The great thing, even if it took you a year to make that $1,000 back, 10 years from now, you could still be eating off of that same book.
Let that sink in. I need y'all to let that sink in for a minute.
Like, look at this picture. You see how young I look? I know I still got my boyish looks.
Baby thing.
You know what I'm saying? I still got my boyish looks, but you see how young this guy look? It's 10 years ago.
I can't. Yes, come on now. I'm just blown away by this, and I really am happy that we're able to bring you on Ash Cash and provide just even the lesson that you provided today. Everything else is bonus on top of bonus on top of bonus. So I hope you all enjoyed this lesson tonight. Ash Cash, again, thank you for your time. Always. When you guys go into the group, it's already posted. I have the resources in there. And then all the other tidbits, the websites you've had, those will be in by tomorrow morning. So check back in for those links and things of that nature. But otherwise, please tell Ash Cash, because he can't see the comments. So go on the Facebook group, tell him how much you appreciate him, give him all the love and praise, and y'all have a good night. Thank you, Ash.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
All right. Have a good night.
All right. Thanks. You too.